Awesome. Thank you, David. Really excited to share the XPON story with everyone. If we just go to the next slide. But before I do, just an important disclaimer. So as you mentioned, David, we're in the process of an IPO. The retail offer is open at the moment. If anyone does want to apply for shares, it's important that you understand the risks, and you can visit xpon.ai/investors to download and read the prospectus and apply for shares under the offer. Next slide, please. So before I talk a little bit about what XPON does, I think it's important to understand the themes that are really driving demand for our solutions and underpinning our rapid growth. I think first of all is this a topic of data privacy, and everyone as consumers knows that we're a lot more aware these days of how our data is being used online. And I guess that consumer awareness around data privacy is also being matched by the regulators as well. And the second point there, which links very closely to the first point, is this issue around third-party cookies being phased out. So what third-party cookies are they're a little piece of technology, they're a text file actually, that sits on your computer, and that what allows websites and internet companies to track what you do online. So for example, if you've ever been on Facebook, you've clicked on an ad, you've gone off Facebook to a website, but Facebook still understands what products you've looked at and what pages you looked at. That's third-party cookies that are enabling that. And with the phasing out of third-party cookies because of the privacy concerns, it creates a really big problem for companies like Facebook and Google because they're losing access to that data. It also presents a big problem for our customers who are big advertisers who've traditionally relied on that data to target their advertising to. So there is a solution for that, and that's part of what XPON provides, and that's really enabling companies to use what's called first-party data. So first-party data is data that a company owns on its customers and consumers, and that could come from a variety of sources. It might come from their CRM or their point of sale, it might be their e-commerce website. So being able to harness that first-party data and use it in a really privacy-compliant and anonymized way solves a big problem for our customers, but it also solves a really strategic problem for big internet companies like Google and Facebook, who we're both partnered with, and I'll touch on that shortly. And then that third theme that's really driving a lot of growth is this huge and rapid shift to the cloud. And depending on which vendor you listen to, they say it's somewhere between 6 to 8% complete, this shift to the cloud. So there's still a very, very long runway of growth still to go there. So the convergence of those three trends has created a lot of disruption. It's also creating great opportunity. And according to Frost & Sullivan, the total addressable market for what XPON does is somewhere in the vicinity of $200 billion. And that's just in Australia and Europe alone. So we just go to the next slide. So what it is that XPON actually does. So a typical problem for our customer is they really need to accelerate their digital modernization to sort of combat those market dynamic shifts that I just spoke about, but also to make sure they're meeting consumers' expectations. And that's expectations not just around privacy, but also around a really great digital experience as well. We've seen COVID really accelerate the adoption of e-commerce and the way that consumers interact online with brands. And the solution that XPON offers is what we call the XPON Marketing and Customer Technology Stack. So we incrementally deploy that to our customers. We don't go in and try and sell the whole stack. And you'll see on the screen there that diagram on the right-hand side, those green boxes, and they're the components of the stack. And the way I like to think about them is they're little Lego blocks that you click together. And as you start to build the Lego blocks and piece them all together, you get a much more sophisticated and much more effective solution that enables our customers to really grow exponentially in this really modern world. So the way that we sort of work with customers, we take a land and expand approach. The first thing we do with the customer typically is we'll do what we call a maturity assessment. So that involves doing an audit of their data, their technology systems, what their strategic objectives are, and building out a roadmap of how they get from where they are today to where they need to be in the future. The next phase is where we start to expand, and that's where we start to lay the elements of the technology stack. So that would include laying the cloud infrastructure foundations. It would include making sure that all their marketing, customer analytics is set up correctly. They're collecting all the data that they need to collect. They've got all the permissions and privacy elements in place. Another really important element of this is making sure our customers own the data that's generated from their advertising. We have a great partnership with Google, and I'll talk to that shortly. So we sell the Google marketing platform, and that's an advertising, or what they call an ad tech platform. And that ad tech platform is technology that companies use to buy ads on the internet. So as part of our relationship with our customers, we ensure that all of the data that's generated from that, excuse me, is owned by our customers. And then they're building a data asset. And as they start to integrate that data asset with other sources of data in their organization, the exponential value of that continues to increase. And then the final thing we do is help our customers with their digital applications and digital products, and making sure they're delivering those really great privacy compliant and rich customer experiences online. So the centerpiece to that stack is what we call our Wondrous Customer Data Platform. So a customer data platform, it enables an organization to create a centralized single view of their customer. So on average, an organization has up to 20 different sources of data on their customer, and they're very rarely connected. And that's what a customer data platform does. It connects all those siloed sources of data. It enables a process of what's called identity resolution, which enables us to connect all those different sources of information to create a single view of the customer. And once that data is in place, that's when the machine learning and the AI can do what it does best and create really sophisticated and powerful segmentation. Some of our machine learning models are really focused around predictive analytics. So that helps our customers understand, which groups of their customers are more likely to churn, are more likely to purchase, what their predicted lifetime value might be. So all of those machine learning models create these different groups, or we call them smart audiences. Then our customers can synchronize those groups of consumers into the advertising platforms like Google and Facebook in a very anonymized and privacy complicit way. That then enables them to target advertising to them, which makes their advertising a lot more effective, and it helps them comply with obviously some of these issues with privacy and the issues of third-party cookies going away. And then finally, the digital experience layer, and that's something I'm very excited about with the future. I think Mark Zuckerberg's done us a great favor with rebranding Facebook to Metaverse recently as well. And that's the immersive, or the XR experience. And I think over time, we're going to see that rapidly increase the adoption of that. So we have a platform, it's called Holoscribe. It enables our customers to build these really rich, immersive XR experiences and then publish them out into any channel that'll support that format. So that could be things like VR headsets. It can actually be in a browser or on a mobile. And it can be into social platforms that support 360 content. So that's platforms like Facebook and Instagram and Snapchat and YouTube, for example. But two of the really main reasons our customers use this platform is it's exceptionally powerful at capturing attention. So on average, a user or a consumer would spend 9.5 minutes inside a Holoscribe experience. And the second reason they use it is because it's very effective at capturing first-party data in a very privacy compliant way. And when that data is synchronized back to our Wondrous Customer Data Platform, they then have another powerful source of data that they can use to activate advertising, but also for the machine learning to actually use to inform it for its predictions. If we just go to the next slide, please. So how we're structured, our XPON Technologies Group, which is the company that we're listing on the ASX shortly, that's our corporate entity. We have two essentially business units. We have XPON Technologies. So we have a sales and operations hub here in Australia. We've actually got offices in Brisbane and Sydney. We've also got a team in London that services the UK and Europe. And we have an engineering hub in Hanoi and Vietnam. That's a really important part of our model, the Vietnam engineering hub, because there's exceptional talent in Vietnam. And it's quite cost effective. And like every technology company on the planet, we're competing pretty aggressively for talent these days. So that does help us and help provide a competitive advantage to us. And then our XPON Platforms business unit is the business unit that's responsible for the development and commercialization of our two proprietary platforms, Wondrous and Holoscribe. Next slide, please. So we work with a lot of great customers. We've got over 190 customers globally. We're focused on the corporate and enterprise market. So you can see a selection of some of those brands that we work with. So financial services is a key vertical for us. You can see there Sunsuper, OFX, UE, and BCIC, which is the British Caribbean insurance company. Some of our financial services customers, retail and travel is another great vertical for us. And you can see some of our customers there, Super Retail Group, Webjet, Flight Centre, Domino's. We also work in media and entertainment. We've got some great customers there. Non-profits use our Holoscribe platform. They get a great result by using extended reality to create really rich stories to tell the narrative of their causes. And education is also a great sector for us as well. Maybe just next slide, please. So I just wanted to quickly talk to the relationship that we have with Google and Facebook. They're important to our business. So we're partnered with Google across 3 different areas of the Google business. So there's the Google Cloud business, which is the Google Cloud platform, the Google Marketing platform, which is their advertising technology, and then the Google Ads business, which is obviously where Google sell advertising online. So we have quite a unique relationship with Google there, in that we're partnered with all 3 areas of the business. So that benefits us because it allows Google to take us into customers. So they're a great source of distribution for us. It benefits our customers because Google can bring in a specialist like us with very targeted solutions to help their customers solve problems. And it obviously benefits Google as well because it helps Google make more money and it helps Google solve problems for their customers. There's a very powerful impact to our business model from this relationship, because every time our customers spend money on advertising through the Google platform, we generate what's called a usage fee. And anytime they're spending money on cloud consumption through Google Cloud, we generate an earning on a usage fee as well. So those usage fees are really sort of a powerful sort of flywheel effect on our business model, because the more effective that we are, the more the customers spend. Obviously, Google make more money, so they're happy, but our usage fees continue to increase, and they're at 100% gross margin to us. We also have a partnership with Facebook. It's a little bit more nascent than the Google relationship, but still quite important to us as well. Next slide, please. So I've spoken through how we land a customer and how we expand a customer, how we actually make money. So 2 types of revenue, recurring and non-recurring. 88% of our revenue is recurring, so we've got a very strong annuity revenue stream. The 3 recurring revenue lines that we have are software licenses. So typically we sell an annual software license. And something that we do a little bit differently is we'll attach a managed service subscription to that software license. And what that does is it enables our team to not only ensure that our customers are getting the maximum success from the software, but it means they stay close to the customer, and it really does help with our expand strategy and help us to cross-sell and upsell and continue to add value to our customer. And then that 3rd area is the usage fees that I just mentioned. So those 3 are recurring revenue lines, as I said, make up 88% of our revenue. And then the non-recurring, which is professional services and onboarding and implementation fees for the software. A large part of the reason we are IPOing is to really accelerate the growth of the business. There's sort of 5 core pillars to our growth. The first one is to strengthen the existing solutions that we have, and that may include strategic acquisitions if we find the right fit. Sort of criteria we're looking at with acquisitions is, they have corporate and enterprise customers on recurring revenue contracts, they have great talent, and we see the opportunity to cross-sell and upsell the XPON stack and expand the gross margin from those customers as well. And we did a little tuck-in acquisition in June of this year. It was a company called Internetrics. And I've got some data which I'll talk to shortly that sort of demonstrates how we're able to integrate these acquisitions quite quickly and immediately start to expand the margin and the average revenue per customer once they're part of the XPON stack. That second pillar to our growth is continuing our expand strategy and cross-sell and upsell. A large part of the use of funds from the IPO, over 50%, is really being driven to just supercharge our organic growth. So that's a large part of that's expanding our sales and marketing capacity. So sales teams, marketing teams, advertising, promotions, events, as COVID allows us to get back to face-to-face events as well. We'll continue to expand our channel relationships with these global vendors like Google and Facebook. And we'll continue to build out the ecosystem around our wondrous customer data platform. That really has two sides to it. There's building out an open API ecosystem so our customers and developers inside their organizations can build on top of our platform and use the data that's generated from our platform for other use cases inside their organization. And then externally, it's about distribution. So it's integrating our platform into the online SaaS marketplaces. So a lot of the big vendors like Google and Salesforce and Microsoft have these online SaaS marketplaces where their customers can buy software online. And so we'll be putting Wondrous into those marketplaces over time. Go to the next slide, please. Next one again, thanks. So I just want to quickly just talk to the growth that we've had. So we've experienced very rapid growth in our annualized recurring revenue. You can see in FY21, we grew 192% organically. When we tucked that acquisition in, it went to 253%. So we exited the year at 9.2 million in ARR. For the first quarter of this year, we added another 1.8 million. So we've exited September at 11 million in ARR. Next slide, please. So not only are we growing really fast, but we've got some really strong unit economics that underpin that growth. We very rarely churn customers. Our retention rate's 99.6%. Not only do we keep our customers, but we continue to grow them over time. Our revenue retention rate's 119%. The lifetime value per customer is 706,000. It costs us 28,000 to acquire a customer. So that LTV to CAC ratio is 25 times. And our CAC payback period 6 months. So the total lifetime value across our entire database customer base is shy of 137 million, and that's as at 30th September. Next slide, please. Just a very quick update in the first quarter of this year. So we did 3 million in revenue for Q1 FY22. Our gross margin was 62%. And just to sort of illustrate that acquisition story, when we pro formed in the Internetrics acquisition that we did in June, our gross margin was 52% because they were quite low margin business. And in that first quarter, since we've acquired them and integrated them, we've got our margin back up to 62%, so 10 percentage point increase there. Next slide, please. Next one. We've got a fantastic team. Our chair's a gentleman called Phil Harris. So Phil's got a great background in financial services. He's the former head of credit cards at CBA. He's also on the board of Credit Corp, ASX listed 200. And Tim Abbott's our third director. So Tim was the former CEO of SAP in Australia, also Oracle in Australia. He's also on the board of ReadyTech, which is an ASX listed technology company. And then we've got a really, really good executive team. I won't go through all the names because of time, so we might just go to the next slide, thanks. Next one again. So just very quickly about the structure of the IPO. So I think the key points here is we're raising between 10 and 12.5 million at an enterprise value of 48 million. After the IPO, more than half the company is still going to be owned by the directors and senior management. All that will be locked up in either mandatory or voluntary 24-month escrow. So you've got a lot of skin in the game from the founding team and the senior executive team. And like I mentioned, we'll be raising between 10 and 12.5 at 20 cents a share. So we go to the next slide, please. So just quickly on the timetable, the offer's open at the moment. The offer is scheduled to close on the 7th of December. However, the very, very positive demand, so it's likely it's going to close early. So if anyone is interested in applying for shares, I would encourage you to go to the website that you see on the screen there, xpon.ai/investors, and download and read the prospectus. And I would encourage you to probably do that before Monday. And I think I'll leave it there because I've taken up a lot of time, but thank you.